Hey everyone, welcome back to TCO Studios in Eagan. It's time for another edition of the Pick Six, and I'm your host, Mike Wobschall with the Vikings Entertainment Network. Thank you for submitting your questions. Lots of good ones this week, so let's get to work and answer them. The first question comes from Logan in Virginia. Have the Vikings ever considered making Anthony Barr a defensive end? Well, Logan, I think Anthony is versatile enough and smart enough to pull off a position switch like that, but I don't know if it would be in the Vikings' best interest. As a stacked linebacker, an outside linebacker, Anthony Barr is a four-time Pro Bowler. He can rush the passer, he can fake a blitz and drop into coverage, and he's really good against the run. So I like Anthony right where he is. Plus, we're already stacked at defensive end with Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin as the starters, and then reserves and backups like Stephen Weatherly and Ifeadi Odenigbo. I like the Vikings constructed as they are right now on defense, and I don't think a position change is coming up for Anthony Barr. Next question comes from Jerry in Mankato. Your thoughts on the Vedvik trade? Yeah, the Vikings earlier in the week traded for a kicker/punter. Kaare Vedvik is his name, and he comes from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, in two preseasons, last year and this first preseason game, Kaare has kicked and he has punted, and I also think he can handle kickoff duties. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Vikings train him this week and if he gets any reps in the game against the Seahawks on Sunday. I think the Vikings know they have a good player in Vedvik, but I don't think they know exactly the plan for him. They want to watch him practice first. Next question comes from Matthew. Do you think if Dalvin Cook is healthy all season, he has a chance to be an Adrian Peterson type of running back? Well, Adrian is going to go down as certainly one of the best running backs in Vikings history and probably in NFL history. And I think Dalvin Cook can also go down in that vein, but he's a different type of player. In fact, I think Dalvin is a guy you can use on all three downs. So I wouldn't compare him to Adrian or anyone else because it's shortchanging the type of player Dalvin can be. He's his own running back in his own right, and when he's healthy, he's going to be a difference maker for the Vikings offense. Remember, the running backs in the preseason against New Orleans, they were stars. Mike Boone had a long touchdown run. Alexander Mattison had a touchdown reception. So the Vikings have big plans for the running backs in 2019, and Dalvin is going to be able to take a swing at it against the Seahawks on Sunday. All right, next question comes from Nathan. I've been watching Hercules Mataafa for a while now. Do you think he could be placed as a defensive end in some pass rush situations? I actually think Nathan Hercules, you play to his strengths by playing him inside as a pass rusher because he's a quick twitch athlete with good pass rush moves, and he can take advantage of guards and centers in those situations, just like he did right there against the Saints when he got a sack on quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. I think Hercules is also tough and physical enough to be a factor in the run game as a defensive tackle. Next question comes from Jack in Rochester. What is the status of Mike Hughes? How is he recovering? Will he be ready by week 1? I'll leave the timeline question up to head coach Mike Zimmer. He knows the ins and outs of Mike Hughes' rehab, but Mike continues to work really hard on the side during training camp to get back into the fold. He's going to be a valuable piece to the Vikings defense when he does get healthy, so we're all looking forward to his return. And the final question comes from Chris in Fresno, California. Do you find interviewing athletes easier than a fellow analyst or the other way around? Interesting question, Chris. I think it's easier to interview players than it is analysts because we all tend to ask the analysts the same questions. Players come from different backgrounds, they play different positions, some are younger, some are older, so there are more questions you can ask the players, and I enjoy that a lot more. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Pick Six, but we will be back next week with another edition following preseason game number 2 against the Seahawks. Remember, that game is on Sunday night, kickoff just after 7 o'clock p.m. So watch the game and send your questions into the email address at the bottom of the screen. In the meantime, stay tuned to the Vikings Entertainment Network for great content, including episode number 2 of The Voyage, which dropped on Wednesday. See you next time.